Welcome back everyone. Today we're taking a closer look at Ugro Capital Limited, a prominent player in the Indian financial landscape.
That's right. Ugro Capital styles itself as a data tech non-banking financial company or NBFC, really focusing on lending to micro, small, and medium enterprises, the MSME sector. They leverage technology quite heavily with platforms like GRO Score for credit assessment and GRO Xstream for co-lending.
They've been quite active in raising funds recently as well. So let's dive into their latest numbers. What have we got?
We're looking at the audited financial results for the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31, 2025. These were approved by their board of directors on April 26, 2025.
And importantly, who audited these results and what was their opinion?
The audit was conducted by M/S Sharp and Tanan Associates, Chartered Accountants. And this is a key point. They issued an unmodified opinion. That means the auditors found the financial statements presented true and fair view in accordance with Indian accounting standards. No major qualifications or red flags from the auditors on these standalone results.
An unmodified opinion is always reassuring. Now the documents provided are primarily the standalone results. The press release gives some overall figures like assets under management (AUM), which includes their off-book portfolio, but the detailed profit and loss and balance sheet we have are standalone. So let's focus on those standalone figures, keeping the overall AUM context in mind. How did they perform on the income front for the full year and the final quarter?
Okay, looking at the full financial year 2025, Ugro Capital's standalone revenue from operations clocked in at approximately 1,396 crore rupees. That's a solid increase from the 1,048 crore rupees they reported in financial year 2024, roughly a 33% jump year over year.
A 33% growth in revenue is quite strong. How did that translate down to profits? Let's look at profit before tax or PBT.
For the full financial year 2025, the profit before tax or PBT stood at around 203 crore rupees. This is up from about 179 crore rupees in the previous financial year, showing a growth of about 14% year over year, as also highlighted in their press release summary.
Okay, so revenue grew faster than PBT. What about the bottom line, the profit after tax or PAT?
The standalone profit after tax, PAT, for the full year came in at roughly 144 crore rupees. That's a healthy 21% increase compared to the 119 crore rupees they earned in financial year 2024.
Right, so PAT growth at 21% is stronger than PBT growth. Interesting. How did the final quarter Q4 of FY25 look in isolation?
For Q4 FY 2025 specifically, standalone revenue from operations was about 403 crore rupees, up around 25% from the same quarter last year. The Q4 PBT was about 57 crore rupees, a slight increase year over year. And the Q4 PAT was around 40.5 crore rupees, showing a strong growth of roughly 24% compared to Q4 of FY 2024.
And how did the earnings per share or EPS shape up for the full year?
For the full financial year 2025, the basic EPS was 15.68 rupees, up from 13.39 rupees last year. The diluted EPS was 14.71 rupees compared to 13.20 rupees in FY24. So decent growth there, though dilution from warrant conversions and ESOPs has slightly moderated the per share growth compared to the absolute PAT growth.
Got it. Now we saw PBT growth lagging revenue growth slightly for the full year. What were the key drivers impacting profitability? Any specific expense lines stand out?
Good observation. Two key lines increased significantly. Firstly, finance costs for FY 2025 rose by about 42% year over year to approximately 628 crore rupees. Secondly, impairment on financial instruments, which is essentially their provision for potential loan losses or credit costs, increased by 49% year over year to about 173 crore rupees.
So higher borrowing costs and increased provisioning for potential bad loans impacted the PBT growth relative to revenue. Despite that, they managed a solid 21% PAT growth. What does this mean for their profit margins?
If we look at the net profit margin, that's PAT divided by total income for FY 2025, it stands at 9.98%. This is slightly lower than the 11.03% margin they achieved in FY 2024. So, While profits grew in absolute terms, the profitability margin saw a slight compression, likely due to those rising finance and credit costs we just mentioned.
Okay, that makes sense. Were there any exceptional one-off items reported that might have skewed these numbers?
No, the results appear clean in that regard. There were no exceptional items reported in the standalone statement, suggesting the performance reflects their core operations.
Let's shift focus to the balance sheet and overall business health. The press release mentioned significant AUM growth. How does that reconcile with the standalone balance sheet?
Right. The press release highlights a total assets under management, or AUM, of 12,003 crore rupees as of March 31, 2025, which is a strong 33% year-over-year growth. Now the standalone balance sheet shows loans at about 7,919 crore rupees. The difference largely represents their off-balance sheet portfolio, primarily through co-lending partnerships. Ugro has mentioned that about 42% of their AUM is off-book, which is a significant part of their strategy.
That co-lending model seems central to their operations. What about their funding and liabilities?
They've been very active on the liability side. Total standalone debt stood at approximately 6,904 crore rupees at the end of March 2025. This matches the figure reported in the press release. They raised over 1,500 crore rupees in debt just in Q4. They also successfully raised a significant equity capital, about 1,264 crore rupees, through compulsory convertible debentures, CCDs, and share warrants in June 2024. Plus, they've conducted public issues of non-convertible debentures, NCDs.
That's a lot of fundraising activity. How is their asset quality holding up amidst this growth?
Asset quality appears to be improving. The press release mentioned gross non-performing assets, GNPA, at 2.3%, and net NPA, NNPA, at 1.6% of total AUM. This aligns closely with the standalone gross Stage 3 assets at 2.35% and net Stage 3 assets at 1.32% reported in the notes. These figures are better than the 3.09% gross and 1.64% net reported a year ago.
Improvement in asset quality is definitely a positive sign. What about their capital adequacy?
Their capital to risk-weighted assets ratio, or CRAR, was reported at 19.41% as of March 31, 2025. While this is comfortably above the regulatory minimum, it has decreased from 20.75% a year ago and 21.52% in the previous quarter, December 2024. This likely reflects the rapid loan book growth outpacing internal capital generation in the recent period. However, the recent fundraising and planned QIP of up to 500 crore rupees should help bolster this ratio to support future growth.
Okay. Any insights from the standalone cash flow statement?
The cash flow statement clearly shows the business model in action. Net cash used in operating activities was significantly negative, around minus 2,474 crore rupees for FY25, primarily because of the large increase in loans disbursed. Investing activities also saw a net outflow of about 80 crore rupees. However, financing activities generated substantial positive cash flow of about 2,655 crore rupees, driven by the large debt and equity warrant fundraising. So they are successfully raising funds to fuel their loan book expansion.
Since it's primarily a single segment company focused on financing, there's no segment performance breakdown to discuss, right?
Correct. They operate solely within the financing segment according to their disclosures.
So putting it all together, how would you summarize their performance for FY25?
Overall, it looks like a strong year for Ugro Capital on the growth front. They achieved record disbursements and AUM growth backed by robust expansion in total income and profit after tax. Their asset quality metrics have shown improvement year over year. The co-lending strategy is clearly scaling up, contributing significantly to their AUM. They've also demonstrated a strong ability to raise both debt and equity capital to fund this growth. The main watch points are the slight compression in net profit margins due to rising costs and the dip in CRAR, although it remains healthy.
Were there any other significant events or notes mentioned in the results that investors should be aware of?
A few things stand out. They are actively managing loan portfolios, evidenced by significant loan transfers through assignment and sales to asset reconstruction companies or ARCs. The successful fundraising through CCDs, warrants, and NCDs is key. They also have board approval for a potential QIP and higher borrowing limits, signaling continued growth ambitions. They are in the process of acquiring Data Science Technologies (DTPL), an embedded finance platform, for about 45 crore rupees. This is pending regulatory approval but aims to strengthen their fintech capabilities. Once completed, DTPL will become a subsidiary. The equity base has expanded due to ESOP exercises and conversions of CCDs and warrants.
And crucially, let's reiterate the auditor's conclusion.
Absolutely. Sharp and Tannen Associates issued an unmodified opinion on these standalone financial results for the year ended March 31, 2025. This clean bill of health from the auditors is a significant positive takeaway.
So looking ahead, what's the general outlook, considering the performance and risks?
The outlook appears generally positive. Ugro seems well positioned to capitalize on the MSME credit demand in India, leveraging its technology platform, expanding branch network. They opened 85 new branches in FY25, and its co-lending and upcoming embedded finance capabilities via the DTPL acquisition. Management seems confident, setting ambitious targets.
And the potential risks?
The key risks include the persistent high interest rate environment, potentially keeping finance costs elevated, inherent credit risks within the MSME segment. Although current trends are positive, increasing competition in the digital lending space, successful integration of the DTPL acquisition, and managing execution risk associated with their rapid growth plans. Future equity raises, like the planned QIP, could also lead to further dilution.
Of course, standard disclaimer applies. We advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
Precisely.
Alright, let's wrap this up. Key takeaways from Ugro Capital's FY25 results?
Ugro Capital delivered a year of strong growth, hitting record AUM and disbursements, showing healthy PAT growth and improving asset quality. They've successfully raised substantial capital, and their tech-driven multi-channel approach, branches, co-lending, embedded finance, seems to be paying off. The unmodified auditor opinion provides significant comfort. While there's some margin pressure and a dip in CRAR to watch, the overall picture suggests a company aggressively scaling its MSME lending operations.
A very comprehensive look. Thank you. It will be interesting to track their progress, especially with the DTPL acquisition potentially coming through soon.
Definitely one to watch in the NBFC space. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you found this analysis helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more financial breakdowns.